What's up, guys? Anders here with another Black Desert video. Today we're going to go over the Q&A from the Heidel Ball that was released a few days ago. But before we do that, I do want to thank the supporters of this channel. You guys help keep these videos going, so thank you so much for the support. If you want to help to support the channel, you can do so by liking or disliking this video, subbing to the channel if you haven't already, and hitting that bell icon. Bell is good, so please ding the bell to get notified when I upload my next video. If you want to go the extra mile, please click that join button below the video or on my main channel page to offer a small monthly donation to the channel. Every donation, however small, helps me be able to bring more videos to you guys. As for the Q&A, there are questions that were asked for the developers that we finally have some answers to. I'm not going to go over every single one, but I'm going to focus on the ones that I think are important. Now, first up, we have the question on the state of Siege. Right now, Conquest War in the NA region is very caster reliant, and most competitive guilds will not take in players unless they play a wizard or witch. Do you have any plans on making the other classes besides witches and wizards more competitive in large-scale fights? Are there any plans to improve the situation of Node War being dominated by casters, possibly making battles more similar to what you'd read in a medieval fantasy novel? Now, the dev said, when we looked at the data for the past couple of months, we found that the kill-death ratio was on the high side for Ranger, Wizard, Sorc, Tamer, and Witch. We examined several possible reasons and determined that the Black Spirit raid skills had too much of an impact on Siege, so we've been adjusting some of those skills accordingly. Additionally, the up to 5000 HP buff in Siege ended up increasing the importance of the already important Wizard and Witch, which is something we're also looking to improve through the changes to the Siege specifications. We believe that making changes to the actual Conquest War or Siege itself is more important than the significance each class holds. We previously announced the central changes in part 2 of the Q&A, and we will do our best to implement these changes to the game as quickly as possible. We're also looking into a variety of other means of making sure you can enjoy Siege and its core experience, such as making more unique skills that can be used by guild masters or guild officers, or new tactical elements with the goal of providing relatively weaker guilds the feeling that this is worth a try or worth the challenge. Instead of approaching this problem with a focus on melee, ranged, or caster classes, we will strive to make it possible for each guild member to enjoy their role with their class. In the meantime, we will be placing more importance on improving Node and Siege. So basically what they're saying is that they consider the problem to be Siege as a layout and not the class itself per se. So a couple of notes I'd like to make are the oddity of looking at kill-death ratios for Sieges. Of course, classes with range are going to show high KDs naturally, Sorc being fewer in number and typically acting as sort of disruptor and not necessarily being an issue unless you're talking about a highly geared Sorc. Tamer being able to wipe out entire platoons with their ults is a thing of the past, unless of course we're talking about a particularly highly geared Tamer. And Rangers basically dealing high damage from range is pretty much all they do. Tamer in particular is a class that outside of their ults are offering zero support for the group. The only reason archers aren't even on here are basically because no one plays that class. I'll talk more on the popularity of classes in the game in a video I'll make this week. Essentially what I'm saying is their approach to this answer is very naive and indicative of someone who doesn't actually play the game. Furthermore, avoiding the issue of the casters, as they call it, is not going to be healthy for the future of Siege. Protected area has been a skill that has been needing a rework for a long time, and yet we're met with no indication that it's ever actually going to be changed. How a ranged caster is allowed to deal big damage, have protected area, and percentage heals all in one kit is kind of crazy. Shy doesn't even have percentage heals, and they were supposed to be a support class till they decided to give up on the class and label it as a life skill class with a bubble mechanic that is also an issue. And if you don't understand what I mean by percentage heals, when you're in Siege, your health pool is dramatically increased. So a normal heal from a Shy will heal you, what, 3000 HP, 2000 HP? That is not enough when your health pool is 10,000 plus. It's not going to heal you enough. So a wizard heal is percentage based depending on how much max HP the person getting the heal has. It's a lot better. You're able to heal more, and it's more relevant as a heal in sieges. Unlike the Shy, which not only do they have a long cooldown on their 1 or 2 heals, it just doesn't do enough. Also, thinking weaker guilds will go into a siege with a sense of it's worth the challenge is another mentality that I think has driven us to essentially have weaker guilds, like he says, hire 50 mercs or 60 mercs, up to 80 mercs sometimes for sieges in hopes for winning the region, only to lose it the next week because you can't take mercs, and they only have about 20 people in their guild. So what's the point of that? The merc system itself kind of defeats the purpose of growing a guild to participate and take on these challenges as they want. In the end, the state of sieges right now has led to a lot of people to just go to T1 Node Wars, where gear is somewhat capped and protected area does not work, which in turn has made weaker guilds who want to do T1s as the introductory Node War, they have absolutely no chance to fight against larger guilds. Now they're revamping Node Wars in the near future, so I guess all we can do is wait to see what they think of and see what happens. Now moving on to the next question about AP and DP, the question was, everyone just focuses on AP in the current meta. Are there any plans for improvements? And the dev said, in terms of PvP, we're aware that the skill damage of each class has increased significantly after the release of Succession, which placed a greater emphasis on AP and reduction in DP efficiency, resulting in combat quickly ending. This might be an extension to our answer for the question regarding evasion, but it is also something that is being debated as we consider several possible options. For example, putting a different HP reduction variable in skill damage makes HP decrease slower to give you more time to react, or changing the damage reduction formula to cap the amount of incoming damage based on DP. However, we will be approaching this extremely carefully because it could have an enormous impact on our adventurers' gear and efforts. Now, the answer pretty much solidifies our thinking of RBF being a testing ground for a possible damage reduction change to all forms of PvP. They're trying the damage reduction increase in brackets depending on your HP, not DP, and for the most part, it has made everyone survive a bit longer in RBF. So in terms of giving people enough time to react, they are achieving that goal through the RBF change. It's just a matter of time till we see a variant or that same change implemented on global labs and global PvP, and we'll see how it works. Now, next up, we have a question about why it takes so long for us to get content from Korea. Why do updates from the Korean servers take longer to arrive on the servers of other regions? The dev said, we truly want to provide content as quickly as possible, but this is largely related to the direction of Black Desert's update. We update weekly for Korea, and usually this content is updated the next week globally. The specific time frame includes the translation and localization process, which sometimes is too difficult to handle in just 1 week. As a result, while we try to maintain this weekly update, large updates such as Odalita that take longer to localize are prepared on a separate schedule. As we continue to build up our experience through this process, we hope to bring you updates more quickly. Now, this answer is pretty much political in nature. They're blaming localization as being the root cause for the delays. It is understandable to think that localizing isn't just translating, by the way, it's also bug testing, making sure everything's working. That takes time. It makes sense. But we also know that Hashashin is out on console and is fully translated in Pre-Awakening on test server, and instead of getting it, we're waiting for a new season. Odalita has been out for over half a year. By the time we receive it, it's going to be out for almost a year in Korea. It doesn't really take that long to localize a region like that. It's not that big. It is all about strategic content pushes and content drip. That's how every MMO works, not just BDO. So for me, being told that we're going to get updates more quickly, honestly makes no sense, especially if they're talking about like Odalita, regions, classes, stuff like that. They're going to push them out when it's more beneficial for them to push it out. That's just basically what they should have said. But they won't. I mean, obviously, you don't want to say that. The next question has to do with a gunner class for Black Desert. Are there any plans for firearm using classes? There's a firearm featured on the Pila Outlaw costume and the Iron Buster Awakening weapon for the Berserker, but we have yet to receive a class that makes use of a firearm in a primary manner. And the answer was, we apologize to our firearm desiring adventurers, but we currently have zero plans for such a class. If by chance Black Desert Desert were to undergo some radical changes that shifts its worldview in the next couple of years, we may reconsider this, but we feel this isn't the time to discuss it yet. For now, we will strive to add more new and amazing classes that are appropriate to the world of Black Desert and can appeal to more adventurers. Now, the dream is dead, boys. God, I wanted a gunner class so bad in this game, but they're trying to keep this game true to the lore as much as possible, so it's a shame that we won't be seeing one at least anytime soon. They did leave the door open a little bit, but in a couple of years, that's a long way away. And finally, I want to end on a question about pets. Are there plans to increase the number of pets we can have out at a time? Now, while we consider it, we currently don't have any plans to increase the number. Now, this may seem silly to choose this question, but believe it or not, if you have 5 tier 4 pets, it is no longer enough to keep up with you as you grind. Getting a 6th slot would be beneficial, and frankly, with how often they're giving away pets, it's fairly easy to get pets these days, even free to play. I have a free to play account with 3 tier 4s and 2 tier 3s from just those random boxes they give out during events. Not bad, really. Hopefully, we also get some more unique pets as well. I quite like the unique ones that look like monsters from the world of BDO. Hopefully, we can see more of those. It'd be cool to have one that looks like an Ash Forest monster. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Let me know what you thought about the developer answers to the Siege questions. What kind of class do you think would fit the world of Black Desert? Let me know in the comments. And as always, guys, thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.